Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Yes She Can project. You do not know how excited I am to finally have Kylie. Hi Kylie.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Yes, you too. We finally made it.
I know, yeah. It's been a while, but yes, it will be worth the wait, that's for sure. So for anybody who doesn't know you, would you like to just introduce yourself? And I know you do so many things, so this is going to be super hard. Tell us a bit about what you do.
So I'm Kylie Dixon. I am a children's author and illustrator. And I also, I don't know what to say this part of what I am, because I don't like the term social media expert, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't roll with us too.
Yeah, but you are.
Do you think? Well,
yeah, definitely.
People seem to get a lot of impact off the things that I teach them and I talk to them about. So yeah, we'll go with that. Social media person, guru, expert. Yeah, and I am the founder of the Northern Lass Lounge, which is it started off as a Facebook group, which I'm sure we'll talk about today. Yeah. And it's a group that I set up really just to share what I do on social media by running a business. And I am the creator of the Magical World of Mushroom Marvelous, which is where my children's book series began.
So is this kind of thing, like, obviously you've got so many arms to your businesses or business, is this kind of thing, have you always wanted to work for yourself?
I haven't. Do you know what it is? I really haven't. So I used to work in a bank, and I worked in a bank for a big corporate company for 18 years, and then I was offered my redundancy, and because I studied art while I was at the bank.
Yeah.
I've always, like, I'm not the person to try, like, well, you know, Michelle, and I can't sit still.
No.
So
and you can't concentrate on one thing at a time. You've got to be too busy.
So I decided to do a fine art degree part-time while I was working at the bank, you know, as you do. I knew I always wanted to do something with my art. So when I was offered me redundancy, it was like, yep, let's do something.
And did you straight away decide that you wanted to definitely go down the art route? I bet it was super scary to leave a job of that length of time. Yeah. I bet it was scary to kind of take the leap and go for it by yourself.
Massively scary. It was a huge risk, Michelle. Like, at the time, I was the main breadwinner. I was quite high up in the bank, to be honest. I was a senior project manager. Wow. So a really good salary coming in as well. And I did have the choice, you know. It wasn't that I was made redundant. It was kind of, this is an option for you, because they were reducing the size of the team.
Okay.
And I don't think anyone expected us to go. But then when I said, this is what I'm going to go and do, you know, it was a risk to take, and it was scary. And I just didn't know where it was going to go.
Yeah. So you started out with Mushroom Marvelous, didn't you? Yeah. Where obviously you did all of your art. And can I just say, as one of the beautiful mugs, I know, can you imagine? We didn't even plan this either, did we? But then how did it evolve into you becoming a children's author, kind of off the back of that?
This is interesting, because I've just, as you know, which I'll talk about, I was in a school yesterday, so I was just talking about this very thing. I'm now going into schools talking about my books. It's crazy. So you have to think, I was made redundant in August 2019, so it's not even that long that I've been doing this. But yeah, Mushroom Marvelous came about. I think it's important for us to really tell you how the whole mushroom situation came about, first of all. So, and this is a true story, and this is what I tell the children as well, because I like to inspire them, to show them that you can do anything, really, if you put your mind to it. So I live in a little town in the northeast of England called Seaham, and there's lots of deans and forests around. And I was walking around. I knew that I wanted to do something really unique with my artwork. I'm looking up here because I've got them all over the wall. And I didn't know what, because I'm a bit, well, you know, Jodie, I'm a bit unique, different, crazy.
Yeah. Brilliant. So one of a kind.
Well, you can say that again. I wanted my art to be something really different. And I was walking around in a forest up the road, and I looked down and I just saw hundreds of mushrooms, right? Hundreds of them. I was like, whoa, what's this? So I Googled it, and I found out that spotting mushrooms in the wild in old English folklore is a symbol of like positivity and change, beginnings. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then I decided to put mushrooms in everything. So like every single piece of art has a mushroom in, as you know. And I like people to kind of think that they're bringing some positivity into their homes.
Yeah.
So that's how it started. Mushroom Marvelous. And then lockdown hit, didn't it? It was August 2019 when I started my business, and you know, in a very short space of time, people were starting to notice what I was doing. And I've always done it in a really different way, as you know, Michelle. We met on Instagram, didn't we? And I think it was kind of when you put yourself out there with your personality, people warm to you, and you know, they get to know you. And when lockdown hit, I thought my business would fail. I was like, oh God, people are starting to really like what I'm doing. Yeah. And I thought I went through a really like tough time, as many people did. And I just thought, I could, rather than just sit and wallow, because I thought, you know, art isn't a need, it's a want. Yeah. I thought no one's going to buy that. So I decided to set a Facebook group up. Didn't really know much about groups, and I just thought about people who were in my situation. I mean, I've got a little boy, he was homeschooling, and I thought, you know, I've got a skill here, I can help people at home with art. So that's what I did. I did tutorials online, and more and more people started joining. I was doing like competitions, little colouring challenges and all sorts. And then I started talking to them about this world of characters that I was creating, the mushroom characters, and they were like, you should write a book.
Oh, bless.
Give it a go.
Why not?
Yeah, so I gave it a go, and fast forward, it kind of sold out at Christmas, and I got it published and all kinds. It's just been a total whirlwind.
So like when I first met you on Instagram, Kylie, you were always like super great on everything to do with Instagram. Like I always watched your story. I'm not a stalker. Let me just make this clear. But I found you so fun. Like everything about you, like your positivity, you tell it like it is. Especially during lockdown, it was such a refreshing, I don't know, it's like stepping out of the ordinary. How hard things were, it's people like you that made lockdown even better. Have you always been like super savvy with social media, or did you learn a lot during that time?
I haven't been, I wouldn't say I was super savvy on social media. I mean, I started off on Facebook. Facebook was my bread and butter.
Oh, okay.
Like I started off with Facebook years ago when I was in the fitness industry, and when I was working for like a fitness company, and I was just thrown in at the deep end with a Facebook business page where I was doing like online fitness classes and stuff like that. So I did kind of have an inkling about how social media works and how being yourself on social media, being authentic, being true to yourself, really, really massively helps you connect with your audience. So I took that into me business, and I did it a little bit differently, because I think with art, not many people get to see the artist, like the personality behind the artist. So I thought, you know, I'm going to take this as a different angle, took what I learned from the fitness side of it and put it into the art. And I'm very, very focused on, if somebody gives us like something to learn, I will do everything in my power to learn as much as what I can. And I thought, you know, this Instagram, I didn't have a clue at Instagram, not a clue what I was doing. I thought, well, just be like Facebook. So when I went onto Instagram and I started trying to promote my artwork, I didn't get nothing. I was like, why is this not working? So, I went and I did bits of training here. I listened to experts. I watched people because I had the time in lockdown.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was so driven to try. I thought I have to make this work for us. And that's how I found out lots of stuff about Instagram and just put it into practice. So it's just learning. And I like to share that with people as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was just about to say, actually, so what you're doing is everything that you've learned in your business regarding social media, you noticed the need for that for, well, I don't want to say Northern Lasses because it doesn't sound quite right, does it? But what I mean is you're enabling other people to learn the same way that you learn, but obviously at a faster pace, because you already know this information. You don't have to go and learn it. You're just passing that information straight on to them in order not only to help them, but to boost their businesses as quickly as possible, the same way as obviously yours did. How did the idea come about for the Northern Lass Lounge?
So this is something that I had no clue how this was going to go. Like, all I've done, Michelle, and this is the truth, right? All I've done throughout the last 2 years is share what I'm doing. There's no tricks. There's no magic wand. All I've done is people have asked us because they've seen how successful I've been with me children's books, right?
Yeah.
This was all created by helping people in a community, families at home, wanting support, giving them some resources that they can use with their families. And that's helped the success of my books as well, because they feel like they're part of something. They want to support me because I've supported them. So this is exactly what I wanted to do, because people came to us and went, I started getting so many different questions about how do you do this, how do you do that, and I was like, do you know what it is? I'm gonna set up a separate community for people, well, not just people, but like women who were at home, who were trying to run a business on social media. And the reason for that is, so in the past, I have suffered from social media anxiety disorder. I know what it's like when you're sitting at home and you're overwhelmed, and I know you've gone through similar things as well, Michelle.
Definitely.
And the anxiety that comes with it. And I did a lot of research about it at the time, and I found that it's a lot of women who were massively impacted by it. So I wanted to set this community up where what my mission is to stop as many women who were running businesses feeling the overwhelm that I went through, because I had no support. I had no one to turn to. It wasn't like a space I could just go and say, can you help us with this? So
definitely.
I set this community up, which is the Northern Lass Lounge. And no, it's not just based at Northern Lass.
Yeah, because I'm in it. I'm in Oxfordshire.
It is, that's just the niche in there, that is my ideal client. But there's people from all over the place who are in the Northern Lass Lounge. And I set that up with no idea where it was going to go, Michelle. I just thought, God, I'm getting so many people messaging us, I need to create a space so I can just go, here, if you want. And it started like that. And I thought, I'll do the odd Zoom session here and there where I talked about Instagram, I talked about Facebook, I talked about hashtags, I talked about getting engagement, going live, all of that. And the more and more I did it, the more people talked about it. And now there's like 2,000 members in my group now.
Wow. And it's not even, you didn't even set it up that long ago, did you? It's just snowballed.
It was June.
Yeah. What's that, like 6 months maybe? Not even.
Hold on a sec. It was June last year. God.
Was it?
Yes.
It doesn't seem like that long ago.
Yeah. June last year. But even so, it's one of the most engaging and active communities that I have, so much so that I've now got 10 people who help support the lounge. 10 people. Yes.
But it shows how much of a need there is for it.
Oh yeah.
Going back to what you said about social media anxiety disorder, I think as women, it's so difficult to, I think, sometimes admit when you need help and admit that you're maybe not doing so well. And I think that's a real stigma that you personally try and break for people to obviously enable them to be able to say, you know what, I do need some help. And I think that's really brave.
Yeah. And I think that's what helps people open up in the lounge. So it's a private group, and I made it private because I wanted it to be a safe space for people to share what they want. But the more and more I go on, and if I'm having a tough day, I go live weekly in the group.
Yeah.
If I'm having a tough day, I'll go on and be totally honest and tell them I'm having a tough day. And there's nothing wrong with being completely authentic and letting people know that you're struggling. And what I love about the community is people are so trusting in there that they talk about all kinds. It's not just about business. It's not just about social media. People come in and they share all kinds. And the amount of feedback I get now of people who are saying, thank you so much for creating this space. I don't know what I'd do without you. Like last week, we had I had a social media for the first time. I was off social media for a week. It was weird. So
like this.
90% of my interaction is online, right? It's social media, and I don't mind saying that. You know, I've made a huge success of what I do through social media.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh my God, the lounge. Like, so many people were coming back and saying the lounge was shut for a week. What did we do? What did we do? So it's great. But we've had face-to-face meetings now. We've got a Christmas session coming up where there's going to be 50 of us, 50 people from all over the northeast, and we're having a Christmas meetup. Shame you're too far away, Michelle.
I was just about to say, I've seen the pictures of some of the face-to-faces, and I've been like, wish I could have gone.
It's like me, my publisher, who I met through Facebook. She's from where does she live? Is it right down south? I think it's even further south than you. Southport.
Oh gosh, is that Hampshire? Oh no, I'm going to make myself look like an idiot now. I'm crap at geography. Ignore me. I don't know.
I just know it's right down the bottom on the coast. So it was a 7-hour trip, and she came up. And that shows you like the power that connecting with people online has. I'd never met her.
Oh, is it Southampton? Because that's dead south, isn't it?
Sorry.
There we go. Oh my God, I got something right with geography.
It is. It could be. Is it? No, it's not. It's Portsmouth. All I know is Sunderland's here and London's there. I've got no concept of where anything else is. But she's right down the bottom. Anyway, she came up to Durham, and like it just shows you, doesn't it, the power that you can build when you connect with people. It's just brilliant.
Have you ever thought of doing a tour?
A tour?
Yeah.
The lounge tour. Well, to be honest, when I had a very important meeting last week with my new team members, which was it's getting to the point now where the lounge is so busy and active that I can't really continue to do it for free because we do it for free. And you've seen, haven't you, Michelle, or you've seen us talk about it, especially on Instagram as well, that I do a lot. I give a lot of value. I give a lot of advice, support, and I love doing it. But in order for me to continue the way that I'm doing, we have to bring in some money to help us get the resources. We want a website, we want to do a podcast, we want to go on YouTube. So we had this, and it's interesting. And it's
the time as well, isn't it? You can't afford to devote like constantly without bringing in an income. You know, no one does things for free, do they?
No, well, that's it. And some people have said, you know, in that meeting, had paid thousands of pounds for training. That was not even a patch on the stuff that they get in the lounge.
Wow.
So we are going to be setting up like a subscription, which is going to start next year. And not one person has said, oh, I'm not going to pay for this kind of thing. They're all like, you silly, you don't kind of thing. Yeah. But touch on the whole going on tour. What we're hoping to do is get like a cycle of sites where we go throughout the year. Because we aim to do, and might be a little bit too far down.
No, honestly,
but, you know,
it's really not. I'm going to send you a map. It's really not that far down. It's it's not even, oh my God, I'm going to make an ass of myself now. It's, I don't know, but it's kind of over here. Yeah.
So yeah, we're hoping to do that like every quarter. Come and do a face. I mean, it's important. It really, really is important that you still do your face-to-face contact. Yeah. Like, and do you know what's weird? Because I do so much behind the camera.
Yeah.
And I'm very confident behind the camera. Right? I wasn't at first. It took me like years of doing this kind of thing. Coming to meet people in face-to-face, I do get quite like,
do you? Like, oh no.
You know what I think it is? It's a fear of getting their name wrong. I don't know their name. I feel like one of the things that is in my head all the time is I feel awful going, who are you? Because you've got to remember the people are that big on the screen. Yeah. They're a tiny little circle, which might even be of their dog, right? So I'm like, when you come in, will you just come right up to us and go, I am so-and-so and this is my business? And I'm like, that really makes us nervous because I feel stupid. And
not at all. It's like you're meeting a load of giants, isn't it?
I know. And I'm only 5 foot.
Oh, yeah.
That's another thing as well. Have you ever noticed that when you meet people for the first time off here, they're a completely different size?
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa. I mean, my publisher is 6 foot, just 6 foot.
Hell.
And I'm 5 foot, and I was like, whoa. She went, I'm a
Get
giant.
So that sounds exciting, though.
Yeah, it is. It's really, really exciting, and I know that there'll be a lot of work that needs to be done, but now I've got the right people around us to.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had help for the last 18 months. When I set it up, I knew I couldn't do it alone, so I kind of looked at people who were already supporting us, and they have been helping us in the background. And I just said, look, the potential here is huge.
Yeah.
And it's just exciting in terms of like, honestly, you've got no idea how many times people are saying you've literally changed my life by what you're sharing with your business. I mean, we've got people in there like there's a 15-year-old girl called Georgia, and she started illustrating. She's now illustrating books.
Wow.
Her confidence has gone through the roof. And she's like, without this lounge, I would never have done any of this because I'm
bless her.
I know, it's amazing. And you've got people like there's a lady called Sarah Phelps. She started a business called Practically Positive in Every Way. She started that business from a Facebook group training that I did.
Wow.
So she's actually built the business from something that I went, all I'm doing, I don't like to say it's teaching people. I'm just sharing what I've done. That's all I'm doing.
No, but it is teaching though. It's passing on knowledge. That's what teaching is, isn't it? Yeah. I follow her on Instagram, I'm sure.
Oh, we all call her Mary Poppins. She's the most positive person you ever meet. But gosh, man, but she doesn't shut up, and she knows I'll say that.
No offense needed. So obviously you founded the lounge from a need for people to have support. You also founded the writing of your children's books from a need because people had asked you to do it. Is there anything that you would say that you did purely because you wanted to do it, if that makes sense?
Oh, what a question. That's interesting. I would say a lot of the things I do, I don't realize that it's something that I've always wanted to do until I've started doing it, if that makes sense.
Totally.
So like off the back of I'd never written a book in my life. However, I love reading magical stories, and as a young child reading books, I truly believe that everything that I do now, this whole creative character that I've got, comes from reading really magical stories, like fantasy books, Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, all of that kind of stuff. And when I started doing me writing, because obviously I decided to illustrate my own book as well, which I'd never done before. Illustrating is very different art. And I thought, oh right, I can actually do this. And that's a total example of going, if you never try something, how will you know?
Yeah.
So I gave it a go, and everyone was like, you really can do this, by the way. And I thought, all right, so much so that I get asked now to illustrate other people's books.
Wow, that's brilliant.
I know, I kind of believe it. And I actually sat, and Laura McLennan, who is the author of Don't Be Silly, which is one of the books that which I just happen to have here, Michelle.
Oh, that's very Blue Peter, isn't it?
This is Don't Be Silly, and this is the first children's picture book that I've illustrated for someone else. And I remember sitting in my studio, and I was like sitting illustrating little Seth there with these monsters, and I messaged Laura and I just went, this is what I was meant to do. Like, this is what I was meant to do. And she was over the moon, because she was giving me work that I wanted to do. She went, look, I've given you work that you want to do. And then more and more people have asked us to illustrate their books, and that's, I never thought, 2 years ago I'd be sitting illustrating people's books. It's
wow. I bet you feel like, would you say, have you had a point yet in the last, that sounded very posh, yet in the last 2 years where you've actually sat back and thought, oh my God, look at how my life has changed, look at how many people I'm helping? Have you had a chance to sit back and reflect on the things that have happened?
It happened a couple of weeks ago, so I don't do it very often. I always hold my hand up and say to people, I don't give myself time to sit and reflect. Now, I really should do that, because to look at what I've achieved, I don't know whether it's like fear of, I don't know what it is, Michelle. I don't know whether it's fear of like just stopping and going, maybe that's why I can get it out of my head. But the other week I got quite emotional, because I think I had like 5 messages plus notifications going, look at this, look at the support. So like, even down to children sending us, like, I got a letter from a school the other day. It's on my wall. I have like all of me thank yous on a wall. And it was from a little girl called Olivia, and she actually, one of the sentences on there was, I don't really like reading, but you have made me want to read. And I was like, and it's handwritten, it's in her writing. And there's like times like that, and I get quite emotional. I'll go, you're doing this, you're making this impact with people. And I'm like, and I had to I rang my husband. I was like, I feel like I was so overwhelmed by it. And then I voice noted Laura, who's now a really good friend. I voice noted her. I rang me publisher, and I was like, I need to speak to somebody. And she was like, right, just sit down, give yourself 5 minutes. She went, this is actually happening. You're doing good in the world, and you should be really proud of what you're doing. But yeah, that was kind of the first moment I've really sat and went, oh.
Do you think it's fear of jumping off that hamster wheel? Do you think maybe in the back of your mind it's like, oh my God, if I don't keep going, if I sit back and if I really take it in, then it will scare me that how big this is?
Possibly. Maybe there's a subconscious thing going on.
Yeah.
And I think it's because when I first started doing like the Mushroom Marvelous, my first business that I did, when I first started doing that, when I left the bank, I remember a good few people saying, you will never ever make business from that idea, but how are you going to make a business from paintings with mushrooms on? And I remember that sticking in my head. Michelle, things stick in my head, and I write them down, and I'm like, I'll remember that. I remember I went live, because what I do is I talk about all the different things and actions that I'm going to put into place. So I knew that I wanted to go into school, right? So once I'd written my books, and I knew all these families had all my books in the Northeast and everywhere, I wanted to give back to the children who like were supporting us. So I thought, right, I'm going to try and get into schools because I wanted to do some kind of workshop to show them if I can achieve this, they can. Yeah, and I talk about the fact that I'm in a little town in Seam. I've got a studio in my garden and I've done it all myself, right? Yeah. And I remember I went live and somebody said on this live, you'll never get into schools. It's too difficult. I'm now booked out till June 2022 in school workshops.
Wow. It's almost like you need that, isn't it? You need that bit of no, you can't, just so you can say, well, actually, yes, I can. Oh, bless you. So what would you say, Kylie, are your plans for the future? Big question.
Oh, right. Well, I've got two arms to my business, really, haven't I? And, you know, I think it's important to really let you know that I've had to drop certain parts of what I do. So Mushroom Marvelous was my first art business where I did all of me gifts, mugs, you know, stationery. And I've really had to take a step back from that. And I think it's important to share that you can absolutely do that, even though you're like, oh, you can't spin all of these things 24/7. When I had that week off last week, I knew something had to give.
Yeah.
Right? And then that helps you lean into other things. So I've obviously got the lounge and I've got my books, right? So I've got two separate things. And I think I can manage those quite nicely over the next few years. I've got 5 books at least in my head. I'm about to start book 3. And I would love to have an animation of Incap and the mushrooms. And I would love to have a theme park. Now,
wow.
Can you imagine the magical world of Mushroom Marvelous with roller coasters?
Oh my God.
I know. So that's a dream, right? But it's on my board and I'll write it down. And for the lounge, the overall goal, Michelle, with the lounges, I mean, obviously next year I'm going to be monetizing it. We're going to set up a subscription. We're going to have we've just opened a YouTube channel. We're going to be doing podcasts on there, like a bit of an interview where we interview the lasses from the lounge, like on a couch and stuff, you know, it'll be really
that'd be cool.
Different. I know. I would love an actual lounge where people can come to. A space where people can go if they just need to get out the house and work somewhere different. I'd love something like that. There was a lounge. There was something else in my head there. Oh yes, that the overall aim for the lounge is to have a place where people can come and ask for expertise on anything to do with business, social, you name it, right? And we can literally just have a pot of experts where we go to and go, there's a need for that. You come in, you do run a session. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Something like that. That's how I envision it.
Oh my God. I want to be like the first person at the gates for when the theme park opens. That's going to be brilliant. You see, like, some people would think, wow, that's such a big dream, that's in the future. But it's totally doable. Look at what you've achieved in the last 2 years. I mean, people would think that is a dream. But because I think the thing that you maybe don't realise is it's not always about what you're doing. It's you that people are buying into. And I don't think you realise quite how special you are and honestly, you really are. And that's the key to your success is you.
Thank you. I know it's like, I don't know. I think it's just because it's not in my nature to go, don't get us wrong. Like, I am a total exhibitionist, right? I like to be centre stage and everything, but I think it's when people give you that kind of compliment, I'm like, I don't know how to take it.
Makes your toes a bit curly, doesn't it? Bless you. Wow, Kylie, it's been absolutely wonderful to talk to you and I've really enjoyed it. And honestly, I cannot wait to see what the future holds for you, and I'm really, really, really excited. And I feel privileged to be a small, tiny part of your journey so far. And thank you for coming on.
No problem. Thank you. Thanks for having us. It's been great to kind of go back through everything and think about. I'm going to go and reflect now, Michelle. I am. That's what I'm going to do.
Definitely do that. Oh, actually, I just thought before we go, where can everybody find you?
Okay, so for my children's books, The Magical World of Mushroom Marvelous, I have a Facebook group which is called The Secret World of Mushroom Marvelous, where you'll get all my tutorials and you just come on me book journey with us.
Yeah.
And then I have another group for the Northern Lass Lounge on Facebook. But I do have a website which is themagicalworldofmushroommarvelous.com and northernlasslounge.co.uk.
Brilliant. So everybody who is listening to this now, go ahead and follow, because she is an incredible lady. Thank you so much, Kylie. I really appreciate it, and I shall speak to you very soon.